The Clyde, the wonderful Clyde, the name of it thrills me and fills me with pride, and I'm satisfied wherever we be tied. The sweetest of songs is the song of the Clyde.
Right, that was some row up from Gourock there. On the Clyde, the wonderful Clyde. But the present state, I cannot abide, and that's what I'm up here to do, to have a look at it, see if we can cheer it up a little bit. And one of the ways of doing this is at the mouth of the Kelvin here, to erect basically a bridge joining up the east and the west banks, over the Kelvin, and above it, a sculpture, the Crystal Ship. Now, Kelvin and Lord Kelvin go together, and he was a great scientist.
He was a great scientist. He was based at Glasgow University. He took his name after the river beside us here, and he was heavily involved with a lot of the early discoveries in communication and electronics of its time, which enabled transatlantic cable, the sort of internet of its day. All these early forms of communication had a lot to do with things that were happening around here.
As it so happens, I have a crystal radio set right here. Now that's scientific magic, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is, yes.
Just admit to it. Admit that you're a bit of a magician. Go on.
No, well, I am not a magician in that way, but it is undoubtedly magic. And the thing about the crystal set, there's no power.
That's right.
You're just taking nothing, but the
right.
properties of this wee crystal is able to pluck this stuff
from the air. You don't have to put in a phone card or anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the future. Why I've come to see you is because I want you to give me some scientific credibility for this idea. Because the art world gets the name of being kind of fantasy merchants. And we're not really give a lot of thought to things in a random way. Crystal Ship. It's a metaphor, it's a visual metaphor. The hull of the ship is the vehicle for discovery, and the crystal cargo that it carried is the vision when do you get through making the journey. So the crystal ship, the vessel for moving, and the crystal for discovering, for the vision.
Well, these are crystals of the sort of archetypal crystal, quartz, which is what the Greek gave the word crystallos from. This is what perhaps most people think of when you mention the word crystal to them. They think of something pure and clear.
Yeah, crystal clear, that's right.
And that has always been important to people. And I think it's important to even sort of scientists like me who work with these things. They are wonderful things, and they have a sort of inspirational kind of quality. Yeah. No, I mean, I think some people imagine scientists see sort of less in things because they reduce them just to what they are, and you see actually more of things. You work with things because you love them.
The early shamans, nomadic tribes of Asia and all over the world, American Indians, they loved this stuff because they intuitively regarded it as magic, and they stuck them in crevices and rocks and trees and secret places, and they seemed to give out some sort of magic energy. And it was intuitive, you know, and I find that was. What do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, I'm a scientist, but I think it's very hard not to work with these things and handle them and not feel something about them that makes you feel better, and they give you a sense of wonder about things and so on.
Dr. John Faithful, poet, right? Come on.
In Zenitime did God the King a structure crystalline decree, where alpha particles could run. No.
Begin again. There's a wee jag of a crystal. It'll come back again. Now try it now. Yeah.
In Zenitime did God the King a structure crystalline decree, where alpha particles could run through lattice measurable by some, with axes A and C.
And that crystal helped you to finish that, didn't it?
It did. It had a wonderful effect.
That's great. That's the energy of the crystal demonstrated in front of your very eyes. When you die and go into this, will you turn into a mineral?
Well, actually, that's an interesting. I have had for a long while had an idea of starting a fossilisation service for dead folks. I would be offering lithification.
The river is an elemental force in our being, and we should respect it. Here we are on the banks of the Clyde on a warm January morning, watching the seabirds flying about to keep warm.
Looking at the spot where the crystal ship will be.
Yeah, I told you about the ship. And I think, although it's on the north side of the river, quite frankly, I think the south side will probably benefit even more.
Particularly Govan. I think Govan has the most benefit because we're going to be looking right across at it.
Well, here's a model here, a small model. You hold that end up, Liz. Right. If you hold it against up there, against the Kelvin. You see the roadway linking the east and the west banks. I don't know if I told you or not, but this is linked up to other places like other universities all over the world. You get signals in to create a light work in the top. It's a very international concept here.
It's an icon. It's an icon for Govan, but it's an icon for the whole of the Clyde. It's a way of helping us to create that joined-up thinking that's so sadly lacking at the moment in terms of the Clyde. Local people here have got a vision for a festival on the river. That crystal ship could be the centrepiece of that festival. You can just see it, can't you?
I was told with an old welder 40 years ago that the time was coming when the Clyde would be a pleasure walk from here right down the coast.
Who told you that?
An old welder 40 years ago.
Were you happy about him saying that?
No, I didn't think it would ever happen.
Glasgow's had a lot of lost opportunities, all the various exhibitions that have gone on over the decades. And the river, over these decades, have got emptier and emptier. And really, here is this river, the city's turned its back on it. And what the city doesn't realise, that the river is the city's soul.
Corporate guys, the big buildings, architects, the big companies, they're not so much interested in the soul, they're interested in the buck. And plus, it's understandable, these hard-hearted days. At the same time, there should be a concession made.
Glasgow Harbour. Now, this huge project, £500 million project.
Yeah.
Now, within all that, percentage for art.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. On the Tyne, for example, they hammer the art side of it pretty strongly, and they're getting results there.
Yes.
This is some stuff here.
Oh, this is Glasgow Harbour.
Yeah. Glasgow Harbour. Here's the river here, and this is a new development. There's the river there, not a thing on it.
You're back again to who gives the brief. I'm sorry.
Here's Melbourne Harbour. Melbourne was a dirty old river. I was there during the war. They've developed it, and you can see, once again, the animation of the river. It's very much like the Clyde, you know. Look at that.
Good morning.
Imagine going to your work in that in the morning. We took from the pride of the Clyde. We could deal with about a dozen of them. You get unique viewpoints from the river if you can go on the river, but we don't get on the river.
See it actually sitting in the middle of all that rubbish and steelwork is really misuse of it, really.
There was a bit of a pride in the ownership of these shipyards from the old owners, Bartley Curl and so on. Yeah. And I think they wanted to show that they had some aesthetic.
Well, they were interested in building, they were interested in what they were doing, and they were interested in engineering, so the results were very clear.
I don't know what you do with the scrap. I mean, we used to import scrap, now we're exporting it. Scrap from Scotland.
It's
good old Scottish scrap.
Somehow building some new housing is going to change all of that.
That's how it used to be when you went down the Clyde in a paddle boat. All the shipyard guys would wave to you, you know? It's funny how people want to wave at a boat, isn't it? And there's the old Govan ferry terminal. That could really be restored as well. The steps and the vehicular ferry there. And it brings Govan into the West End. That's the old dock for the ferry.
Ferry in there.
Yeah. And now we come to a sculptural gem, the Glenlee, the sailing ship, the old entrance to Queen's Dock, which is blocked off now as well. And if we could have more of these water brushes in the river, these things would be interlinked.
Yeah, let's build housing here, let's build shops, let's build lots of things here, but let's make it a really rich, diverse.
Yeah, and leave openings to the river.
Absolutely.
Don't create an architectural barrier. And this was the original site we wanted for the crystal ship. It was going to be much bigger, and it was going to be much lower, and it was going to be covered with glass, and it was going to cost a fortune. And it was going to upset the speculative guys who wanted to build houses and flats about the place and car parks and all that sort of stuff. But the potential of this place is immense. If you look at it from a sculptural point of view or an aesthetic point of view, or for that matter, from a sensible point of view.
Where we started was with a crystal ship, which was a replacement to Britannia at the Govan Dry Docks. Now, that was a major structure, and it was really too big, and in any case, the Govan Dry Docks are no longer part of the scene. Glasgow Harbour, interesting development though it is, could be enhanced by such a structure and sculpture. No question about that. Because of your concept, George, of a crystal, I believe that this has the opportunity to link through Professor John Brown, the Astronomer Royal at Glasgow University, with the stars and with the information technology that this link could provide. Every project goes through a gestation period. And there is no doubt in my mind that we've gone through that. We're already, I would say, about 75% down the line towards realizing that project.
God, that's great news, Tom.
We have a real possibility, subject only to final financial sanctuary.
The Clyde, the wonderful Clyde. Its present state I cannot abide. Where have all the ferries gone?
It's very tied into the whole history of the place.
I think it'd be a great landmark for Glasgow.
That's nice, you know, the crystal on the middle, yeah.
It would be much more pleasant to be able to walk and take visitors to Glasgow to see images and sculptures such as yours.
What's the vision we have for the Clyde?
I think it's dead now.
No vision. How do you feel about that?
I'm not very impressed.
You're not impressed?
No.
Environmentally, it needs to be friendly as well, you know.
You don't have to lay the roads, it's already there.
Well, it's good that you're all thinking about the Clyde.
Clean it up and get it used.
Melbourne, you know, their river was regenerated.
Imagine what would happen in Edinburgh if Edinburgh had the Clyde running through Princes Street Gardens.
And they've got walkways, restaurants. It's beautiful.
Don't want, you know, buildings and buildings.
And I came home and I said, why can we not do this with the Clyde, you know?
We went on the man who runs the wee boat.
The Pride of the Clyde.
Good, they're doing more like that, I think. Yeah.
It needs some new life regenerated in it.
How do you impinge orthodox thinking?
Well, I think the only answer is perseverance.
Oh, that's for
Keep
sure.
plugging away, make as many contacts as possible, get as much publicity as possible, get as many people on your side as possible, get as much money as you can as possible. Easily said.
We're from Algeria.
Yeah, I am, yeah. Actually, it's a great idea. I think that why is missing in the Clyde River.
What's missing?
That kind of boat. There is no boat at all.
There's no boat at all.
Whenever I pass the Clyde, sometimes I just stop the car and I look across and I look at the river, and just the feeling that I get from the River Clyde. It's a very nice feeling to just see the river at night.
Venice.
Oh, how did you know to say that?
Venice is a very good thing to have mentioned that, very good, because there's so many parallels there like that.
You know the story about the gondolas in the big exhibition, the turn of the century in the Kelvin.
That's
but
right.
somebody said in the corporation, we should have a gondola on the Kelvin, and the other person said, why don't we have two and let them breed?
Vaporetto, as you said,
I love that.
Vaporetto on the,
nice word.
on the river.
Just like, it's so musical, the word.
Yeah.
Hey, listen now, we are standing here in the city centre against a pontoon. For people, non-nautical people, a pontoon is just a floating platform.
Yes.
And because of the tide, it has to go up and down, and it's hinged onto the land by this thing here. So it's going up and down.
These are a necessity. This is the new international financial district, so they say. To have cars, as we see there, on the edge of the river, is a sacrilege.
It's just terrible.
It's a sacrilege.
It's so stupid.
So car parking on the edge of the river should be forbidden.
Correct.
This is a fairyland.
But people like that.
Yeah.
There should be a pontoon there.
There
to
should
let
be.
them,
There should be,
Some
yeah.
guys will nip across for a hamburger from the financial centre
Yes,
into
I think
there.
so. There should be. In urban terms, we call them viruses.
Viruses?
Yes, because they don't respect the urbanity, you know, of a city. I'm afraid they were allowed to be developed when there was no discipline.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the 60s with tower blocks, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. The aim of the city is to reconnect the north with the south of the river. Because it's important, because Otherwise, we are here in front of two cities, but the city is one, is Glasgow, so therefore must be united.
Look at the precarious position of that lady's eyes up there in that poster.
Yeah. But
That's more or less saying there's wonderful views from this place. No wonder her eyes are popping out. That's a pontoon there.
Yeah, it's an effort by the Mototel.
If this was in New York, because people love to watch these things taken off and it's hidden away at this point.
I tell you what, we ought to praise the local authority because has tried to put some usage in this building.
Yeah.
It's the private sector which is not coming forward really with investment and with ideas.
Not enough bucks in
Yes,
it,
I think so, yes. I think we maybe see a nice transport museum in this area.
Now that's very important for me because now we come to what I want to do. The bridge would come right across there in a curve like the Rialto Bridge.
Indeed.
Yeah. And it would, and above it would be the Crystal Ship, and behind the Crystal Ship is the University of Glasgow.
Yeah.
The canting basin, that inlet there, I always think of that's a good place, letting yachts come up the river and let them use that as winter quarters. Just have the masts jiggling away.
Yes.
Bring money to the place. There's a perfect pontoon.
See, so we have pontoon here and there.
Inexpensive.
Access to the science centre from the river doesn't exist.
But we'll just tuck a little pontoon in there, Bruno.
Yeah.
Just in there.
Yeah.
Little pontoon, and then that's you in. It just so happens I've got this map. I've done the city inn, the crane, the rotunda, the moat house, the heliport, the Glenlee, the walkway, the transport museum, the Kelvin, and on the other side, Govan, the yacht basin.
The harbour development.
And the science centre. Look at all the things we've got. And if we interlink that with these vaporettis, the pride of the Clydes, it's got to be absolutely animated. Glasgow, as opposed to Edinburgh, which thinks itself as the Athens of the North, Glasgow will be the Venice of the North.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What we have to do, George, we have to humanise the edge of the river.
I'm down on the banks of the Clyde at one of the few points where you can actually get to the river. It's just out City Inn, and the remnants of the old quayside here are very stable. And I'm going down here actually to collect some of the river itself, because I'm very fond of this river. There it is, the River Clyde in a jam jar, not a baggy mini in sight, and I'm putting the lid on it because I'm going to keep that for a while, because this is in fact the water of life. The water of life as far as Glasgow is concerned anyway. Why did you start these boats?
Well, I don't know. My wife says it's a midlife crisis, George. I was actually in the North Sea in the diving industry. I was a diver. I just wanted a wee boat. But by the time I went into this, it ended up growing arms and legs and nearly a divorce.
How's it going?
Well, I'm keeping my head above water, pardon the pun, George, but I'm getting there. The business is building.
Springfield Quay behind us is one of the places that I think could benefit from a pontoon, and the visitor too from your water bus.
Oh, definitely, George. You know, this would be an ideal stopping position just between the two restaurants here, Frankie and Benny's, and the Springfield Quay. And you've also got the bingo and...
That's right, that always draws a crowd.
Oh, God, yeah. If you've got the infrastructure and you've got the boats, then you would create the demand. I mean, the ferries, they used to have 5,000 people a day crossing these wee ferries, the government ferries, yeah. Scottish Enterprise, they helped me in marketing, and one of the greatest help's been Bob Baldry at Bray Head. I've had help from friends and family and things like that.
So you get these lovely carnivals they have on the canal in Venice, but that would be good.
Well, I've handled the Govan Police. They had their night out on the boat, so if we can handle them, I think we can handle anything.
We'd like some more traffic on the river, and we've made a start to that ourselves by adding some access to the river, and that was done in association with Clyde Port, who were very supportive. Our long-term intention is to have some sort of pontoon.
If you look at Venice, for example, and think of this maybe as the Grand Canal, which is a bit of a stretch of imagination, but not that stupid, really. Would you maybe have the City Inn motorboat, your own one, That's
a definite possibility. Just think it seems to be taking longer than you would have hoped to develop some sort of traffic on there, and with traffic comes interest, and then comes new business, etc. And I think, if we could speed the process up...
You'd be able to beat your prices up.
Yep. Well...
I mean, it's about vision, isn't it? I think we've become an awfully instrumental, material age. You know, we know the value of everything in money terms. We know the value of nothing in terms of how you can open up aspirations and open up vision of sense of place. Really, Glasgow has turned its back on its river, and it's ignored it for decades. I mean, there were little bright spots like the Garden Festival when people were brought back to the river and walked across the Bells Bridge in great numbers. But for most of the time, it's become really a problem rather than an asset. I mean, people worry about it flooding, they worry about the effect of not dredging it anymore. It's been a very, very sad story, and it's only now that agencies, economic development agencies and city council and the rest are beginning to think, well, we've got an asset here, why aren't we looking at it again as something that boosts the profile and the image of Glasgow?
Do you think they are really beginning to think? 'Cause in front of me here I've got a report from the Glasgow Harbour media information. So here's how to get to Glasgow Harbour by road, here's how to get to it by train, here's how to get to it by underground, here's how to get to it by air, and here's how to get to it by bus. Not one of them
Nothing
says...
about how to get to it by river.
Where's the blockage in this political thinking?
I think one of the problems is that nobody's got real authorship of it. You know, you've got this big Glasgow Harbour development, but it's very much a commercial development. There's nobody at a higher level, political level, or an economic development level that's got the master plan, the big vision, the big view of what should happen to the river to bring it back into the affections of the city and its people. I would contrast how badly we do these things in Scotland with the way development corporations in the past in England have done it. You know, I knew the one in the Tyne and the Weir quite well in the 1990s. I mean, it was given a slug of money, big bits of land, and a 10-year time horizon and told, develop, redevelop, bring life back to the Tyne, bring life back to the Weir. And we don't have a body that's got that one responsibility and has crucially got limited time to do it. If you let them go on forever, they'll talk forever and there'll be a million plans.
That's right.
But if they've got 10 years to do it, something will happen.
You need something to dream it along.
Dream a bigger dream.
Dream a bigger dream, yeah. It's a great pleasure to be down here by the riverside, meeting my old friend, the Finnieston crane, otherwise known to the locals as the Stobcross Cran. I'll tell you something about that crane. That crane in its day loaded 18,000, repeat, 18,000 locomotives to 43 export destinations. Now, that's something. My God, look! Look! The hook has fallen off the crane. Do you think it's trying to tell us something? Do you think it's trying to tell us on this river to get our act together? You know, that crane knows a thing or two.
The river Clyde, the wonderful Clyde, the name of it thrills me and fills me with pride, and I'm satisfied wherever we betide. The sweetest of songs is the song of the Clyde.
In zenith time did God the King a structure crystalline decree, where alpha particles could run through lattice measurable by some, with axes A and C.
The sweetest of songs is the song of the Clyde.
Finito!